in the 06010.
What's good, friends? Welcome into Fantasy Focus Football, presented by Wingstop, alongside Fields Yates and Mike Clay. My name is Daniel Dopp, here with another exciting Wednesday, diving into Week 14. Final week of the regular season. I can't believe that we're already here. Playoffs are on our doorstep.
Insane. And I don't know about you guys. We've obviously all played in a lot of leagues. For some reason, like my buckets this year are not totally equal. When I say buckets, I mean there's the buckets of leagues where like you have already clinched a playoff spot and you're just vying for a specific seed, or maybe you've already clinched a first round bye. The second bucket is, hey, I'm toast. Like I'm not making the playoffs. Week 14 is inconsequential. And the third bucket, which is the most stressful one, is like I've got something to play for here. That's the smallest bucket. Like I've got a couple of dog poop teams this year. Yeah. Thankfully, got a handful of teams that have already like secured their spot in the playoffs. So this morning, I woke up and I was like, what waiver claims did I land?
Oh, really? I thought it was a terrible waiver week.
Well, when your team is playing against your team,
that's right,
in the Fantasy Focus League.
Oh, that's the big one. Did you talk about that?
Yes, we talked about it yesterday.
There was some. We were texting because there was some late drama there. I had a Monra. Did you talk through all this?
Like, we didn't go through this.
I had a Monra last week. Took a 0. I had Zay Flowers. Took a 0. And then I'm like, I'm toast. I was playing a good team, and then I came all the way back at an 8-point lead. Only thing left I was facing was the Patriots defense. I'm thinking I should win that. They're unlikely to get to 8. Maybe they will, but they scored a return touchdown. Yeah. So thank you, Marcus Jones, for beating me. That would have clinched me a playoff spot. Instead, it comes down to me against you.
Yep, and I'm looking at the options right now. Yeah, and I did spend some money last night on my fab budget.
You have J.J. McCarthy as your quarterback this week?
You know something, Mike? I actually am going to do this, America. Well, we'll get into. We have a very important show. We're talking Saquon Barkley, Lamar Jackson. Yep. And also Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, we have some big names.
But I'm putting my money where my mouth is here, Mike, because I know that you're not here on Tuesdays, but on Tuesdays we have been doing a segment over the past 3 weeks thanks to our incredible sponsor, Wingstop, and it's our playoff stash brought to you by Wingstop. And the first week, I think we all brought one to the table.
Correct.
And I said, like, call me nuts. And Daniel and Stefania immediately called me nuts. I think the audience called me nuts. But I said, if you just look ahead to the schedule, this is playoff stash. This is not like, we interpreted it each a little bit differently. But I'm thinking to myself, who is a guy that you are stashing, this was 3 weeks ago, to potentially use in the postseason.
Yeah, let's save that a little bit because later, not even this part, not the Jefferson part. Later, we're going to get into that.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yes,
so plenty to talk about.
There is, yes, but I said Justin Jefferson. Yeah. I'm sorry, I said J.J. McCarthy was my playoff stash. Justin Jefferson, I'm not sure what to call him right now. We'll talk about that. But J.J. McCarthy was my playoff stash. It wasn't like I was choosing between J.J. McCarthy and I don't know, Jacoby Brissett on the waiver wire, but still, I said, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Give me JJ and give me a victory over Mike Clay after just adjusting my lineup, factoring in the players I claimed off of waivers. I'm a mere 7-point underdog against Mike, but notably, it's not just me versus Mike this week. It's me versus the league. I need to go 2-0 this week.
And I just need one win. So even if you beat me, I need to beat half.
And I need to go 2-0 because if I go 2-0 and I score more points than Field does, then I would potentially be the one getting the final playoff spot. I would jump in over you guys.
78 points, but yes.
I need a lot.
So you're not going to be calling the Lions to tell them to have Amon-Ra suit up this week? Because I could really use him.
Yeah, you know what?
I tell you, I might do it. I'm currently projected 1, 2,
We'll talk about it. All right, well, we got a lot of fun stuff to get into. We'll talk about that even more.
I'm currently projected for like the 8th most points, which is not ideal.
Not ideal.
But it's why you play the game.
That's
right.
Get into it. That's right. Yeah. Really quickly, a big shout out to our friends over at Trophy Smack. Head to trophysmack.com. Use the promo code FOCUS10 for 10% off your order. Grab a belt or a trophy chain or a toilet seat or whatever you want for your league. They got a lot of good stuff over there, trophysmack.com. As well, head into our YouTube chat. Our buddy Eric Moody is in there. Follow him on social media at Eric N. Moody. He answers all the questions.
He's big on Reddit in the Doors thread, I found.
He is.
The Doors? Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Favorite The Doors song?
He likes Doors. He likes French doors.
As a recent homeowner and not the biggest music guy, Spotify Rap just came out, so I was that earlier. My brain immediately for 60 second or not 60 seconds, like one minute.
Okay.
Or
60 seconds
Let
is
me
1
try this
minute.
again.
That's all right. No
So
big deal.
between 60 minutes and an hour.
No, for like 1 to 2 seconds. I think we were just talking about doors, like regular home doors.
Yeah.
Like doors. Why?
Yes.
Moody, yeah.
Doors or-
You know, he cannot stand for the life of him glass doors. He hates them. He
Doesn't
only
like
likes
glass
wooden
doors.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Understood.
Yes.
It's a regular Ron Swanson.
Correct.
Oh, man. What's the topic of the show today?
We're going to dive into a bunch of good stuff here, but we are going to start. We said a handful of things. One, we got a couple of players. We're going to talk about some upside plays, some flex options for you here in week 14 if you need a big game this week with some guys on a bye.
Yep.
It's your last week of the regular season to get into the playoffs. If you need it, we got a couple of options for you. But first and foremost, we got the big 3 names.
Yep.
Fields Yates, you already talked about it. Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley, Justin Jefferson. I'm going to turn the table over to you first. We each have one player.
Yeah.
We're going to present the case and talk about what we would do if we had that player rostered on our squad.
Yeah, it's kind of all encompassing, right? So it's what's happened recently.
Yes.
Yep.
Why it could get better.
Yep.
Why it might not get better. And then, hey, here are some of the names that might be legitimately near this player in the rankings that you're considering playing over Saquon or Lamar or Justin Jefferson. I have Saquon Barkley. He was assigned to me. So let's just talk about some of the recent duds from Saquon. We're going to focus in on the last 4 games. Over the last 4 games, his fantasy points are as follows: 13.1, 10.0, 12.4, and 5.6.
It's crazy.
But the point is, it's been bad, right?
Yeah, very bad.
You would take 13.1 when you realize that's the highest point total over the last 4 games.
Yeah.
His last 4 finishes at running back: 20th, 27th, 19th, and 47th. So 3 out of the 4 of those have been like still what we would consider either a starter or a flex, but none of those have been the kind of performance you expect from Saquon Barkley. He's averaged 2.7, 3.2, 2.2, and 4.3 yards per carry. So last week, his worst fantasy game was his most efficient rushing performance. The reason why? Over those last 4 games, he has 3, 1, 7, and 0 nada in terms of receptions. So he has a total in those 4 games of 11 catches, and he has 0 touchdowns.
And in one of those games, you said he had 7. So like there was like one outlier.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
And that game in which he had 7 catches only got him to 12.4 fantasy points. Wow. It's been bad. It's been really bad for Saquon. It has been borderline unplayable for Saquon. And here are the reasons for optimism.
Okay.
Let's start here. He is Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
Right? He's still Saquon Barkley. I think all of us would agree that while the offensive line can help him a lot, Saquon can still make something out of nothing. He's one of those players that falls into that category. His combined rushes plus targets over the last 4 games. So looking at his like potential opportunities here: 25, 28, 18, and 15.
That's good volume.
25, 28, 18 are all like very good. 28 is
Yeah, his volume's
exceptional,
been great.
obviously.
That's
The
not
volume is great. The Chargers, by the way, did go through a stretch earlier this season in which they allowed a single running back, not all the running backs, but a single running back to score 27 or more fantasy points in back-to-back-to-back games. And they did not face Christian McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson and Jonathan Taylor during that time. Like one of the running backs, yes, one of the running backs in that game was Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt in those 3 games. So I guess those are the reasons for optimism. It's not the most difficult matchup on the slate. It's also not an easy matchup per chance. And the reasons for pessimism that go beyond what we've already talked about with Saquon Barkley is that this offense is in a rut. They have 4 offensive touchdowns in their last 3 games. And by the way, their best offensive outing was when they were basically trying to come back from a miracle last Friday, and the Bears were sort of playing prevent, right?
Yeah.
They're up big in the 4th quarter. The Eagles play with some pace and some tempo. A.J. Brown gets the ball nonstop. So they have 4 total touchdowns in their last 3 games. And of course, and this is a reason that I think we came into this season with a touch of pessimism regarding Saquon Barkley for, the tush push, right? If they get the ball at the 1-yard line, every other running back, Derrick Henry, 1st and goal from the 1, he's getting at least 1 crack at it. Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, so on and so forth. The tush push here is in play.
Yeah, it is a little bit, although that didn't stop him last year. The problem is they're not in scoring position enough. He has 4 carries inside the 5 this year. He ranks 38th.
I'm sorry. You said 4 carries for the season?
He has 4 carries inside the 5, ranks 38th at running back, not even including quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Just at quarterbacks or at running back. So that's a problem for sure. Another problem is the offensive line is still good, but they've been a little beat up with injuries lately.
It's okay.
It's not it's not as dominant as it was. It's overall this season, if you're looking at the full body of work, it's been fine. It's been good. Yep. It's been above average, we'll say. It's not
an above average body.
And you can see that in the numbers because he's averaging 2 yards before contact less this year than he did last season. So that's a problem. I will give you one more thing that's good going forward is the schedule. The Chargers this week are his hardest remaining game. During the fantasy playoffs, the schedule is outstanding. In fact, including this week, I have Eagles running backs with the third easiest remaining schedule. After this week, it is the Raiders. They've got the 11th most fantasy points to running backs. Then the Commanders, third most. And then with everything on the line, in week 17, they get the Bills. And we know they're top 5 in fantasy points allowed to running backs, 4th to be exact. So that is that gives me some optimism that I have them. I'm not going to get many duds because the schedule looks really good.
So let's take a look at this week and then talk about the rankings and other players that you could plausibly make an argument to start over Saquon Barkley. Now, some of these guys, based off where you drafted them, it's not like, hey, I drafted Saquon and I got this guy in the 7th round, so I'm inserting him as my new RB1 or RB2. But some of the names around there, I think we have a full screen that showcases some of those players that are closely ranked to Saquon, include, but are not limited to, Quinshon Judkins, Chase Brown, Saquon, who I think the consensus ranks have at 12. I have him as 14th in my running back rankings. Here where names get a little bit more interesting. I think Quinshon Judkins is interesting because you could have gotten, you did get Quinshon Judkins late. Ashton Genty right there in the same territory as Saquon. And then Javonte Williams, who has been really good for the Cowboys all season. They have a very difficult matchup against the Lions. That being said, that Cowboys offense is so good right now that Javonte could get a goal line opportunity. He could get 5 receptions. Those are some of the names that are coming to mind right now that we probably weren't ever thinking about coming into the season being ranked around Saquon Barkley. Do you guys have a scenario on a team in which you have Saquon where you're throwing a more random dart than that?
I'll let Mike go.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I will say this. I think sorry, go ahead.
I don't, because I was notably out on Saquon. I don't have Saquon on a single fantasy team this year.
I have him in Scott Fishbowl, and he's been good in that format because running backs are money in that format. But I think that's it.
I have him in
maybe one other.
I've got him on 2 teams.
Do you have any good options that you're thinking about?
One of them is a dynasty league that we play in together, in which he's going to stand in that lineup just because
we play 3 flexes too. It's deep.
It's fun. The other one here is, and we can talk about this team here for a moment. My options at running back this week, you have to start 2 out of these 3. It's Saquon, along with Aaron Jones and David Montgomery.
Okay, so that was where I was just going with my point, which is I think Barkley is kind of at his floor right now where we would rank him. There might be, you could put him maybe behind Chase Brown and Javonte Williams, maybe Kyron Williams, who I have a 15. But then you
Chase
get
Brown, without a question. You're playing Chase Brown over Saquon if you have those
against
teams.
Buffalo.
Against the Bills, fair. But my
Even
point
just in general, he's been awesome.
Everyone I just said you could play over him.
Yep.
But I think after that, when you get to R.J. Harvey, who I like more workload. I know he had the 2 touchdowns last week. I'm not there yet. But Ken Walker, Aaron Jones, to your point, ETN, Warren, Hampton soon, maybe not this week, Amari and Hampton. But all those guys, I'm not starting them over Barkley. I feel like 15 is maybe the cutoff where we would, the floor where we would put him.
I hear you guys, and there's not a running back that I feel confident in. However, I disagree just fundamentally with the statement that this is his floor when Field read his last month of finishes, and I don't think he had a single finish inside the top 12. Did he?
He did not. I think Mike is trying to get to this point, and Mike, let me know if I'm misrepresenting what you're saying. Is you almost have to think about where the player is ranked and where he finishes as a grid of simulations, right? And it's if you ran Saquon's Week 14 simulation 1,000 times,
sure,
the odds of him finishing once again is RB21 or lower. The number of simulations of him finishing as RB21 or lower are way fewer than the number of times in which Aaron Jones finishes RB21 or fewer, or Bam Knight finishes as RB21 or fewer, or Amari and Hampton in his first game back finishes RB21 or fewer. It's a little bit of a complicated way of describing it, but it basically feels like for the last month, Saquon has consistently hit his low water mark, whereas the players that we are talking about way beyond where we have sort of settled into this cluster of rankings would only surpass Saquon if Saquon A, has a low watermark game, and they B, have a high watermark game.
Yeah, that's totally fair. The idea is that I think he is the 12th best option at running back, or the 12th most likely to, be a RB1 this week, however you want to look at it. The bottom line is that he's a better start than, I would say, certainly all but, 14, you could rank him anywhere from 8 to 15, I think is completely fair. I wouldn't put him any lower than that. Could he finish 24 this week and then 5 next week? Yes, absolutely. But also, that's how he's been the last month or so. They've gone through some tough things with the offense. They've had offensive line injuries. The schedule has been tough. As I pointed out, the schedule is much easier going forward. And the guy is top 8 in carries and targets at running back. It's hard, not to follow that volume. Not many guys have that path. I mean, we could pick all these guys apart. Barkley at least has the huge volume, the raw talent. Like to your point, he is Saquon Barkley at the end of the day. He still has the skill set. So especially with this schedule, I feel like he is a pretty high floor RB2 or fringe RB1.
Why? Okay. Even against the Chargers this week, even though in 6 of his last 7 games, he hasn't topped 13.5 fantasy points.
I have that note on my list here. Yeah.
So almost like I was thinking about like one more element to these conversations is like, do 2 of us ante up and board bet or something each player and just like where he.
I disagree with you guys on Saquon because I've watched him for the last month finish
So we can do that. Why don't we do that?
By the way, let me just point out the Chargers are his hardest remaining game. They're top 10 in touchdowns and yards per carry allowed to running back. So it's not like they've been this force against running backs. I mean, I feel like it's maybe an above average matchup.
This is almost like a mini, like a round robin board bet here. It's like you get to plant your flag on one side of the argument or the other. And then at the end or whatever, next Wednesday, we'll pay it off and say like, you went 3 for 3, you went 3 for 3, I went over 3, whatever it might be. I'll probably go 3 for 3. No,
you probably
Are
do.
we comparing players or what are we doing?
Well, like we have 3 players we're discussing, and we'll put 3 board bets down, and whoever has the best round robin record gets the other 2's salary for the week.
All right, so but how do
on
we
top
do this?
of their
Let's
own
look at our
salary.
rankings. Dopp, and you have
I'm going to move him down. I like in looking at this, I'm definitely moving him down.
Okay, but we can still find a number though.
He'll be outside my top 15.
Okay, so we got to find a number that's like somewhere a little. It's we're at 12 and 14, so it's got to be a number of spots lower than 12 or 15.
Give me again what his finishes over the last 4 games.
Last 4 finishes are RB20, RB27, RB19, and RB47.
So RB19 is the best he's done over the last month of the season.
Yeah.
So I'll easily take RB17 at least if that's a far enough gap. If you need me to go more, then let's talk about it.
Okay, so we would be on the side of top 17 finisher.
Yeah, I'll take
and
that.
you're on the
Fine.
the side of 18 or lower.
Outside the top 17.
Dig it. I'm in. Okay. You go first.
I say Saquon Barkley finishes outside the top 17 at running back in week 14.
I say Saquon Barkley finishes as a top 17 running back in week 14.
Ditto.
Put it on the board. All right, I like it.
All right, so there's the Saquon case there. Glad we got that off of our chest.
Hey, and as a part of this, if you are watching the show right now and you're like, I got Saquon on my roster, throw a question into chat. We would love to answer some questions to know what your lineup decisions are at the end of the show if we have some time.
And it definitely makes it easier if it's running back versus running back, right? Because flex,
there's a lot of context, obviously, within like lineup decisions, but it's easier 1-to-1 if it's possible.
Okay,
all right,
sweet.
Mike, where are you going to go, my friend?
All right, I am going to take Justin Jefferson. A lot of Vikings talk today because, again, I'm going to expand on this whole offense and the other guys a little bit later in the show. But for now, we'll focus on Justin Jefferson. Obviously, if you started him last week in Seattle, against Seattle, that was a brutal showing. Max Brosmer was the quarterback. He had 4 yards on 6 targets in that game, did not find the end zone. He was also under 12 fantasy points in 3 straight games, the 3 prior games with J.J. McCarthy. Yes.
Daniel is doing a scavenger hunt right now in the studio.
Here's the thing. I lost half of my IFB, so like I can't put half of it in because it's just like it will stab my eardrum.
I thought you were trying to find Justin Jefferson's fantasy value.
That was a good one. Wow, I like it.
Did you find it?
All right, I did not. It's still down there somewhere. Maybe you can help us find it, Mike.
Maybe we can find it. So 4 straight games under 12 fantasy points. What's wild about this is I mentioned this in the past week or two. He has a 29.6% target share. That is a career high.
I know,
for
it's
Justin
crazy.
Jefferson.
The number one down from 30 going into last week.
That's right. He is somehow still top 10 in targets, catches, yards, and end zone targets this year, but only has 2 touchdowns to his name because this offense has been so
He's still
problematic.
top 10 in the NFL in catches and yards.
It's not hard to believe.
He's that good.
Yeah, at wide receiver. So if you put in tight ends, maybe he's like 11th.
Yeah,
sure.
But anyway, jump.
I was going to say McBride is for sure.
Obviously, efficiency has been the problem. I mentioned the lack of scoring. 59% catch rate. He has never been below 64%.
Yeah.
7.6 yards per target this year. He's never been below 9.6 before. That's huge change. So the quarterback issues have crushed him. So that's the bad news. The good news is the schedule going forward for the receivers for the Vikings is the easiest in the NFL. The next 4 games they play are all against teams top 6.
Yep.
Love that.
And fantasy points allowed to receivers. The Commanders this week, Dallas, the Giants, and then Daniel's Detroit Lions, who just lost Terry and Arnold for the rest of the season. So Next 4 games, put this offense in a great spot. Again, it includes this week against the Commanders. And it makes it tricky to completely write off this offense, and including Jefferson, who, look, I'm ranking him as a wide receiver 2, and we can get to some similar names, but I cannot bench him. I can't bench him. I mean, if I'm in a 8 or 10 team league and I'm stacked at receiver, maybe, but I just don't think people, for the most part, are in a situation where they have 3 better receivers than Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, sadly, I have no better receivers than Justin Jefferson, which is the only team that I have him on. My team is garbage. I've talked about this a few times, but I play in a league where the lowest scorer of the week has to do a punishment, and I intentionally went for high floor players coming into the year. Josh Allen, Brock Bowers, and Justin Jefferson were the first.
Yeah.
Somehow I've only amazing. I've only paid it off. I've only had to pay it off once. But my team still sucks. So I'm a little low. I'm lower on Jefferson. There's I know Stephon.
Yeah, you're 21. Wow.
21. Yeah, that's where I'm at with Justin Jefferson right now myself. So it's the toughest offense to watch in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the Titans, the Vikings, a couple others are probably in that same category.
I feel like Cam Ward's even starting to show a little something. So I'd rather watch the Titans.
Yeah,
the Vikings.
I think so. That's fair, because with the Vikings, it's like you're comparing it to the baseline of what it's been in recent years.
Oh, yeah.
With the Titans, it's not like they've been a juggernaut of late. So we can look at some of the players that are ranked near Justin Jefferson, and once again can turn it to not just the poll, but each other, and sort of give you some names. So Jefferson is at 14 in consensus ranks. You had him at 12, Mike? Is that correct?
I have him at actually 13.
13, okay.
13.
So Jamison Williams, Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, then Jefferson at 14 with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Devontae Smith at 15 and 16. Do those guys all feel in the same zip code right now as Justin Jefferson to you guys?
No. Jamison Williams feels different to me this week with no Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's in a different spot. But the rest
it's almost like the tier.
Kind of, yeah. But the rest of that.
After 11.
Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, Justin Jefferson.
Who's more likely to put up a 0, Jefferson or Jamison?
Well, honestly, this week
without
it can't be Jamison.
Yeah,
it'd be tough for Jamison.
The Lions are going to go.
I know.
What did we do?
Wow.
What did we do here?
I know. I'm being a little facetious, but I mean, look, I have AJ Brown at 11. I mean, he's right in that conversation. All these guys are close. I mean, I think, I'm going Brown ahead of him. A tough matchup against the Chargers. Olave, I think, is a safer play, but those other guys we could pick apart too. I mean, Harrison's on there. I don't even know if he's going to play this week. We'll keep an eye on that. Devontae Smith, again, they get the Chargers. That offense is struggling.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, we could pick apart Jefferson, and justifiably, but we can pick apart other guys here as well.
Can I ask one more question that pertains to these 3 players?
Yes, please.
And we'll talk about Lamar in a second, so we can save this question for when we actually dive into Lamar. Has this year, if you had to just totally guess off the top of your head, and there's so many things that can change, the draft, free agency, scheme changes, etc. How high do you think Saquon Barkley will rank in your running back rankings going into 2026?
So he's going to be, let me see, I think he's going to be 29. Is that right?
29 years old, you're saying.
2018 draft
He was
class,
28.
so.
Yeah, he'll be 29.
Yeah, so 29. Just roughly. I don't need you to say hey, he's going to be for sure RB7.
Well, that's a variable. If he's 26, I maybe feel more optimistic about a rebound.
Back,
I'll probably be
it'll be 29 and a half.
Around
Christina, our producer, says 29 in February.
That's a very scary age, especially
29 and a half by the start of the season. Yeah.
I'll probably be out on him again. We'll see where he falls in ADP, but probably around the 10 to 12 range, I would guess.
Okay. 10 to 12 range for running backs.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay. And then how about Jefferson? Is this still going to be like a top 5 wide receiver?
Yes. Obviously, massive variable is the quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, massive variable.
Hard you'd have,
if it's JJ McCarthy, panic, but they're not going to do that. I mean, they can. What are they going to do? But then again, if it's Kyler Murray, that's also not great, as we've seen.
Yeah.
So,
do you feel like they're going to move on from JJ McCarthy that quickly after one season of seeing him?
I think he's going to get another look here.
A backup,
like
that
a
could
Jacoby
be
Brissett type veteran.
Sure.
Maybe actually Jacoby Brissett.
I have to imagine in-house they have an idea there. This might be a situation where he's not ready to be a starter, and we've seen plenty of examples of that lately. Sam Darnold being probably the most recent example of that. But they have to have another plan, unless McCarthy just lights it up with the schedule over the next month, which we'll get to shortly.
I think Mac Jones would be good there, man.
Yes, that'd be a great fit.
It's the style of offense that you want to play with Mac Jones under center.
If Mac Jones is there or someone similar, top 5 for Jefferson. I mean, I'll be all the way back in on Jefferson unless I'm very concerned about the quarterback.
The biggest thing working against him in a scenario in which he gets a quarterback upgrade that we feel steady about is just that ooh, baby, there are some stars at wide receiver right now, right? I mean, like Puka and JSN are going to probably be 2 of the top 5 in everybody's rankings going into next year.
Still got
CeeDee
Chase.
Lamb and George Pickens, Jamar Chase, like those guys right there.
Malik Neighbors, Rasheed Rice for a full season.
Yeah, so Jefferson may be a little lower than that for me, but I think this goes back to why, and you guys are probably sick of hearing this term.
A tier, yeah.
Yes, tiers. Tiers matter because it's like, you have this guy, you feel really comfortable with him being your starting wide receiver 1 and feel like he can be a 20-point player in almost every week.
If Justin Jefferson had Jacoby Brissett every week right now, we would feel so good in this situation.
Carson Wentz at this point.
Carson Wentz, or Mac Jones.
Like all those. Again, we're going to get to the Vikings, but I was looking at like some of the game logs. I was like, man, I missed those days. Like Jordan Addison delivering 3 straight good games. It's like, man, now it's a disaster.
Really quickly, if Kyler Murray signs there, do you feel all of a sudden like things got better, or there's still enough trepidation around Kyler?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not.
You don't feel like top
tier
interesting.
Better. Yeah. And this is a bit of an ironic thing to say because of how much JJ McCarthy has struggled this year. But I give benefit of the doubt to Kevin O'Connell with almost every quarterback.
Yes.
And so despite the fact that Kyler is right now a depreciated asset, I'd be like, I could buy into Kyler.
I could see him being
Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
He's still under contract past this year. They'd have to trade him. But that being said, it would be a very interesting landing spot. But Kyler, not the most interesting quarterback on the rundown today, Daniel, because that would be Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Demetrius Jackson Jr. actually is his name. Born January 7th, 1997. He did not play high school football until his junior year at Boynton Beach, in case anyone wondered that. Then played college at Uville in 2020.
Played basketball.
2015. Drafted by the Ravens in 2018 with the final pick of the first round. Here's some reason for optimism.
Oh, we're starting positive. Okay.
He's Lamar freaking Jackson. Show some respect. Field, sit up straight. Mike, tuck it in. All right, that's the kind of respect that we need for Lamar Jackson, okay? That's where we're at right now. He has a decently advantageous matchup this week. Over the last 6 weeks, Steelers are top 12 in points allowed against the quarterback. I did want to start with the positive stuff before I did all the negative things.
Yeah.
So, it's a decently advantageous matchup, and it's a home game. You always prefer a quarterback playing at home than a quarterback playing on the road, so I love that. But I especially love it against the Pittsburgh Steelers because quarterbacks at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, Week 1, Justin Fields, 29.5 fantasy points.
Remember that day? Oh, my God.
Week 3, Drake May, 19.2 fantasy points.
That's like a bad Drake.
That is like a bad Drake May game. Week 7, Joe Flacco, 25.9 fantasy points.
Legend.
Week 10, Justin Herbert, this is the dud, 14.7. And then week 12, Caleb Williams, 21.6. So 4 of the 5 games that the Steelers have played on the road, quarterbacks have scored over 19 fantasy points. Quarterbacks at home against Pittsburgh are averaging over 20 fantasy points per game this year. So we like that.
Can I expand on that? Because
Please.
I noticed also that dual threat quarterbacks have been successful against them. You mentioned Fields. The 2 touchdowns and the 29 points. Drake May at 7 for 45 on the ground. He didn't have a huge passing day, but he delivered on the ground. Daniel Jones had a rushing touchdown. Caleb ran for 21 yards 2 weeks ago. Not a huge game, but he had 21.7 points. And Josh Allen, again, not the biggest fantasy day, but 8 for 38 and a touchdown last week against them. So, and that doesn't even include Love, Flacco, and Wentz, who also had big games against them as well.
Those are games in Pittsburgh.
That doesn't even count them.
Correct.
So, interesting.
It's a good matchup.
Think, Lamar hasn't been delivering on the ground, as I'm sure you're going to get to, but those quarterbacks have done well against.
They have done very well against them. By the way, that Daniel Jones game, he had I think 5 turnovers. He had 3 interceptions and 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles. Finished with like 14 points. So you take away that, and he had another like 20-point game there.
He threw like 340 passing yards.
Yes, he just unfortunately turned the ball over a bunch. Here's the reason for pessimism. He has been bad for a minute, in case you guys didn't know.
Yeah.
Do you know how many touchdowns he scored over the last 1 month? I'll give you one guess.
One.
I'll give you one hint, guys, but I'm only going to give that one hint to you one time, okay?
7.
One time?
It's 1.
Yeah, it's 1.
There's 1 touchdown over the last month of games. Lamar Jackson has scored 1 touchdown over the last month, under 7.5 in 3 straight. It feels like he's had more bad games than good games this year.
Yep.
25 plus in 4 games, top 4 in all 4 of those.
Out of the gate, right?
Yes, right off
weeks 1, 2.
Beginning of the season. Yep. Every other game this year, other than those 4, he has finished outside the top 10 at quarterback, with 4 of those 5 games having under 11 fantasy points. Yeah. And so because of the fact that his superpower feels like it's gone, Mike, this is what we're talking about. 3 of the last 5 games, under 15 rushing yards. Yeah. That's just not Lamar freaking Jackson.
Yeah.
So hasn't topped 40 rushing yards in 5 straight, hasn't topped 50 rushing yards since week 1. That's just unbelievable that this guy who is like the photo, like the picture of our dual threat quarterback in the NFL has struggled so much on the ground. So this week, those are my reasons for optimism, reasons for pessimism. It's a nice matchup against the Steelers, but he just has been bad even when it feels like he's had good matchups because he just played the Cincinnati freaking Bengals.
I know. It plays them next week, too.
Yeah.
And in theory, it should be back-to-back good matchups here with the Steelers and Bengals, but who knows? He just underperformed against the Bengals.
So I got a couple of guys that I would start over Lamar Jackson this week, and I'm going to tell you who I would do. We got a full screen for it, but players I would start over Lamar Jackson. 1, Patrick Mahomes coming up against a Texans team. Really tough defense, but coming off a 29-point game against the Dallas Cowboys, I would still take Mahomes over Lamar. Daniel Jones against the Jaguars. Jags are giving up the 9th most points per game to quarterbacks this year. I would go with DJ. Jordan Love against the Bears. Just torched the Lions for 25 fantasy points. The Bears are a really nice matchup for quarterbacks. Yep. Even on the other side, Caleb Williams against the Packers. He's got 21 plus in 3 of his last 5. He had a dud last week. I think this will be a bounce back opportunity for the Bears, though.
That's like to me a good debate.
Caleb Williams and Lamar Jackson.
I have them back to back.
He's borderline.
One ahead, but it's
okay. Yeah, so it's a close call. Like that's the territory that we are talking about right now with Lamar. I think Lamar.
Bo Nix. One more. Bo Nix is a coin flip for me because Bo actually. Do you? He's got a good matchup, but Bo is. I'm not sure I've got a lot more confidence in Bo Nix with how he's played quarterback the last month of the season.
Fair.
I have no clue what to make of Bo Nix as a fantasy player right now. I think in real life, I think he's a very solid young quarterback. I would feel comfortable in saying that if we're redoing that 2024 class again, I think there's an obvious tier of Drake, Jaden, Caleb, and whatever order you want to put those guys.
Yep.
I think Bo's a notch below. I think Broncos fans are getting mad for me saying that. That's how I view them. He's a conundrum, though, in some ways, and fantasy included. So I think out of the 3 players that we have talked about, in part because the ball goes into his hands every single snap, I think the player that has the chance to make this look like a waste of 7 minutes the most is Lamar.
Agreed.
Right? Like if he goes nuclear for 25 on Sunday, none of us are going to be like, holy crap, right?
Where did that come from?
Whereas like if Justin Jefferson goes for 25, you're going to be like, oh my God, did they finally do it?
I can't believe it worked.
Oh my God.
Yes.
This actually works. Wow. That being said, the certainty that you have with Lamar every single week is actually kind of why it's been the most disappointing out of these 2.
Correct.
It's like you don't worry about that. There's never a conversation. You only play one quarterback. If you have Lamar, maybe because of his injury, you did have a second quarterback, but you might have dropped that player. Now, like with Saquon and Justin Jefferson, like every week you're at least like, man, like I had Chris Godwin, that same team as Justin Jefferson. This last week I was like, I can't play Chris Godwin over Justin Jefferson, can I? And I didn't. And I think it ended up being close. Actually, Jefferson did not outscore Chris Godwin. But like with Lamar, there's never a conversation, which has made it, at least for me, the most agonizing out of these 3. I talked about how I have Saquon on that dynasty team. I also have Lamar. Maybe this is a
your thing. Yeah, that's where the second
get it out
from.
Yeah, this was his idea.
Yeah, I love that. I like it.
2 things to wrap this up. I would agree. I mean, I feel like coming into the season, even Lamar would be like, oh, he's like safe floor. Like you draft him, you're good to go. Saquon, you can pick him apart coming off the huge volume. We did that all off season. Jefferson, it was at least like he seems to be,
there were reasons for pessimism, but we've seen him be good.
We didn't know for sure. It was quarterback question marks at least. So I agree that. The other thing is, something I was curious about with Lamar is, have we seen this before? Because it feels like we haven't seen this before. Like a stretch like this.
Like a stretch this bad.
We did come close in 2013. He had a 3-game stretch in the middle of the season.
2023.
What did I say?
2013.
Yeah,
Lamar
back
was in
high school.
Yeah.
1997, yeah.
He only played a few snaps. No, I'm doing that a lot today. I don't know where my brain is. But anyway, 2023.
In the playoffs.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Weeks 8 to 10, so not far off from where we are right now. Weeks 8 to 10, he had 13 or fewer fantasy points in all 3 of those games.
Wow.
So a little bit of a slide, very similar to what we just saw. He went on the rest of the regular season to average 24.7 fantasy
Did you
points
say weeks
per game.
10 through 13?
It was 8 through 10 that he had the slide.
8 through 10, okay.
And then over the rest of the season, he averaged 24.7 points per game. So we have seen this before. Yeah, I think that's the only time he had a slide, like a consistent 3-game slide like that. That was that bad. but at least there's like one example of him rebounding from it. So hopefully that's the case.
I also suggested that board bet thing, and then I forgot to do it with
Saquon and Lamar Jackson.
And Lamar,
yeah, but do we have strong takes on the other ones?
Jefferson, I was at 21. You guys were at 12.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you're lower. Okay.
So
that's tough. I hate being on the positive side. The under is always a smart play in these.
I know. Wide receiver 18 seem fair then?
Why not?
If you're at
What the
12.
heck?
Yeah, we're having fun.
I'm not putting my credit card on the line here, so let's do it.
It's just 1 week base salary.
Oh,
that's it.
Okay.
That's easy. Yeah, that's simple.
Well, that's worth it. Well, considering our salary differences, I will take this.
We're doing this. We're doing this. It's going to be fun. All right, so I say Justin Jefferson is not a top 18 wide receiver in week 14.
I will say Justin Jefferson is a top 18 fantasy receiver in week 14.
I agree with Mike.
Put it on the board.
All right, and then I think we all kind of feel the same about Lamar.
Yeah, we're like one spot apart.
Board bet America or something.
Is he a top 10 quarterback this week?
Oh, what we could do is we could all agree on the like the number.
We all get a loss if we're
a win or loss.
Yeah.
Like it's not like
is he better than or worse than?
What do you have to get to want to start him? If I said right now he'll finish top 12, would you just be like, all right, I'll start him? Like you don't know where he'll finish.
Yes.
Let's just say top 12. He finishes as a top 12 scorer.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, I'm fine with it.
All right. Yeah. All right. Put it on the board.
We all say Lamar Jackson is a top 12 scorer in week 14.
But if who wins if we all lose? That's the question.
America
wins.
It just counts towards our total, right?
Oh, that's right. Okay.
It kind of washes out.
I like that.
Anyways.
All right.
Yeah. America wins or America loses.
Let's dive into some upside plays here. Some people that maybe if you need someone in week 14 as a big upside in order to make the playoffs, you're going to throw a dart at these guys.
Yeah, the conceit here is I was talking about to make this about something that is within our world. Mike and I are playing in the Fantasy Focus League, and I need to go 2-0, which means beating Mike head-to-head, scoring in the top 6, and Mike has to go 0-2. Yes. So I can't control how Mike's roster looks, but I can control how my roster looks.
Most importantly, I have to beat you by 78 points. So I'm the real reason why we need these dart throws, right? Like this is what I'm looking for, these big boom plays.
And on top of that, we have 4 teams to buy this week. Yeah. Not as many fantasy relevant players, but no Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
No Drake May. No Panthers running backs. Like there are some options unavailable this week that have been appealing in recent weeks. So we're going to rip through. I think we have 9 total upside plays.
3 apiece. Yeah. All right. I'm going to start with you, Fields Yates. Why don't you kick us off, my friend?
Well, you guys may have some of these guys then, but let's talk about Jets wide receiver AD Mitchell.
80.
Right, over 100 receiving yards last week for AD Mitchell. Probably his best game as a pro. And this Jets passing offense is better with Tyrod Taylor than Justin Jefferson. That is not breaking news. The Jets made some trades that all of a sudden are looking pretty interesting to me. Yeah. And I think that the headline of all of those Jets trades was the first round picks, which certainly have the best chance to define this next wave of Jets football. But they also added a couple of players that were not being discussed much. Like the AD Mitchell was almost like a throw-in to the Sauce Gardner trade. He's been good for them. John Mechie has been good as part of the trade with the Eagles.
Just fun to root for.
Was that for who was that for? Oh, Michael Carter. Yeah. Michael Carter for John Mechie. So my pick this week is Jets wide receiver AD Mitchell. The Jets play the Dolphins, which we've talked about how they may not be the most efficient secondary, but they don't face a lot of volume. Who knows with this Jets game? Who do you got?
Yeah, no doubt. I'll just add that AD Mitchell's second in the NFL over the last 3 weeks in your favorite stat.
Air yards?
Air yards.
Yes! Love that.
Who's number 1?
John Mechie.
The guy that's had 2 massive games the last 3 weeks.
Michael Wilson?
Games.
Michael Wilson.
Oh,
yes!
That
good
checks
job.
out.
By the way, 4,600 at DraftKings this week. We could say that.
Ooh, yes, we can. That's right.
Best play is AD Mitchell. First one on my list, fellas, is Christian Watson. Now, anytime I talk about Packers, I get myself in trouble, which means he's going 2 for 12 this week.
That's right.
Correct.
That's accurate.
But
total lock, yeah.
He's basically retaken over as what they hoped he would be when they drafted him as their number 1 receiver over the last 3 weeks. He has 22 targets. That's 7 more than anyone else over the last 3 games. He had a career high 10 on Thanksgiving. I didn't realize he had actually never reached double digits in targets in a game in his career.
Oh, wow.
18 plus fantasy points now in 2 of 3. He has 45 plus yards in every game this season. He actually leads the NFL in air yards since he returned in week 8. A lot of air yards content
That's
today.
like probably the least unsurprising stat about Christian Watson. Like that's what he does.
But he's actually catching some of them.
Yeah, no, that's his game. That's what he's good at.
Christian Watson has run 1 slant his entire life.
Yeah, exactly right. Now, Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed could be back as soon as this week, which could spread out targets a little further. But the Packers do have the 6th easiest remaining schedule, which is good. That includes the Bears this week. So Christian Watson, I think we've been kind of on the fence. Do we start him? Do we not? I feel comfortable plugging him in, which is, again, when I say it, that's always dangerous.
It doesn't happen. Yeah, take it with a grain of salt, America.
Packers receivers are my kryptonite for sure.
Yeah.
I did this in a significant way. I decided I was going to choose a wide receiver in the 30s, a wide receiver in the 40s, and then a wide receiver in the 50s. So I have one for each one of the buckets that you have. Okay. So this first one is going to be the safest upside play that you will hear from any of us, I think, today. And that's Jacoby Myers, who's wide receiver 31, and he's just been
way
really
higher
good.
in my ranks, yeah.
He's been really. Is that why? Is that you're inside the top 30 for you?
He's like 21 on my board.
Love to hear that. All right, well, BTJ might be more physically talented, but I still don't know what to think about Brian Thomas Jr. It feels like Jacoby Myers is the wide receiver 1 right now. They brought him in to be able to be this guy, this like really good safe catch guy. He's at 6 targets every single week. 6 for 90 and a touchdown last week. He also had a touchdown the week before, clearly developing chemistry with
24.
With
my number's 24.
With 24. Okay. With Trevor Lawrence. Colts secondary has been better recently, but as we mentioned yesterday, they've been mid-pack over the wide receivers against wide receivers over the last 6 weeks, and there is no Sauce Gardner as well, so that's going to be a big thing.
Here. Yeah.
So Jacoby Myers, the only wide receiver that I'm going to talk about that I have ranked in the 30s. Everyone else is going to be a little lower, but he's the safest upside play, I think, on this list with how he's been coming on for this Jaguars
Like the
team.
pick, Mike does the shadow report, so I'm not going to try to say that I have any better knowledge on this than Mike, but just a guess here. I feel like Jacoby Myers is one of those receivers. He might be like the best receiver that probably never gets shadowed because he's not
just doesn't reach the level.
Guys that are in the slot.
Yeah, but and he plays enough on the perimeter too. But like he's just not this like unbelievable athlete. It's not a lot of vertical shots down the field. He's just like he reminds me of like an NBA post player who just you're like, how does this guy put up 20 and 12 every night? And you're just like, oh my God, he just put up 22 points once again. I love Jacoby.
There's a lot of guys like that. Michael Pittman's another example. It's rarely gets shadowed because he's moving around a lot.
Yep.
You know, Drake London draws it sometimes, but he's inside a lot. So guys like that.
Pittman's teammate, Alec Pierce, my next pick here.
Oh, that's a good one. I like Alec.
Listen, Alec Pierce averages 20.9 yards per catch.
Dude.
He's a regular Christian Watson.
Unreal.
That's the most of any player in the NFL. He's got to be up there for air yards as well. They play the Jaguars this weekend. We've already talked about this game. So Pierce, he could go for 2 for 44, or he could go for 4 for 111 and 2 touchdowns. That's the kind of player that Alec Pierce is. So give me Alec Pierce as my next pick. I was looking up the statistical leaders around the NFL yesterday. Just got down a little bit of a rabbit hole here. He's at 20.9 yards per catch. That's best in the NFL. I was also thinking about this after Monday night when Marcus Jones had another punt return touchdown. And is he the obvious NFL All-Pro amongst punt returners? The answer is probably not. Did you guys know that Chimere Dike is up with has the highest yards per punt return since at least 2005?
Whoa.
And further back than that, because I was looking up, I went back far. And Omar Bolden for the Broncos averaged 23.6 yards per punt return, but he had 5 total. So, like, DK's having, like, a generationally great punt return season.
I shouldn't ask this question, but is Omar Bolden a player from right now, or is that like a 2005 player? Okay, thank you, because I didn't know who Omar Bolden was.
Yeah. So, way down the rabbit hole there.
What's more impressive, that or the Jets not having a single defensive interception this season?
The Jets is, like, I still can't believe that.
That's hard to do by accident.
Yes.
Last time a team did not have an interception this season was in the 30s.
Oh, my God.
Are you kidding me?
The 30s.
And Aaron Glenn, a former cornerback, comes in as their head coach, and they're like, dude.
You'd think a tip pass would just land in someone's hands. It still hasn't.
Or like an end of half situation where they're Hail Marying it. By the way, what are the odds that if that streak continues into week 17 or 18, Aaron Glenn signs himself to the active roster? Just like, I am taking matters into my own damn hands.
Well, they're wearing them black uniforms this week, so I think they're going to win this week.
Yeah.
All right.
I like those black uniforms are sick.
Next one for me, I don't think we had to do receivers, right?
No, we don't.
Okay,
no,
good.
Of course not.
Because my next one is kind of a fascinating
I love that Mike asked the question live on the show rather than like while we were doing pre-production. Like, hey guys, should I pick
you were
someone
like,
up?
I have a receiver in the top 30, top 40.
Oh, okay,
top 50,
that's fair.
So
Yeah,
I miss a note. But mine's an interesting one because we had the same conversation with Bucky Irving last week, and now we're going to have it with Omarion Hampton.
Yeah, I like it.
It's a good one. Him because there's obviously a lot of upside, but obviously a lot of risk here with his first game back since week 4. We're wondering if, like Irving, he'll play that big role in the hot hand approach, or if he'll be very limited. Because when we last saw him, he was terrific. He had 17 plus fantasy points, or 17 plus touches in 4 of his 5 games, 129 plus yards, 24 plus fantasy points in 2 of his last 3 games. A high floor from the receiving. He had 5 plus targets and catches in his most recent 3 games. And guys, are playing the Eagles.
Yeah.
He just got crushed. 2 Bears running backs at 19 plus fantasy points. They've actually allowed that to 8 running backs so far this season, the 5th most yards to that position, most yards to that position. So, again, obviously tons of upside from this guy, but he's risky here coming off the injury, assuming he's activated.
I'd like to think that if 2 running backs can hit 100 rushing yards in a game last week, that just Omari and Hampton can hit it this week.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, that was an out. I know the Eagles have allowed that 8 times. They've been inconsistent, we'll say, against the run. They've allowed a lot of touchdowns to that position, but that was certainly an outlier game for really any team.
Of course.
2 running backs at that level, they just beat up on them. It was pretty wild.
Obviously, it was the first time the Bears.
Knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I can't wait
for the running game.
The Bears, their first game with 2 running backs over 100 yards since 1985.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
By the way, is Caleb going to get to 4,000?
He is not.
Big debate.
He is not going to get to 4,000. I don't think
Unless
so.
he gets scorching hot against a tough schedule.
That's the thing. It'll be tough.
I think my projection was like a hair under 4,000, and you were furious about that.
I wasn't furious. I was just saying, like, Bears fans are going to be, like, not pleased.
They're furious about all the things.
All right, you're next here, Daniel. What do you got?
Next one up, buckle up, because this one has been a roller coaster this season. But the Denver Broncos have a great matchup against the Raiders, and there's only a couple of wide receivers that are low enough to be in this conversation, and that's Troy Franklin. And how about maybe even newcomer Pat Bryant the last couple of weeks?
Number 2 receiver now, Daniel? Yeah.
That's a great question. Taking on the Raiders this week, like I said, they've allowed the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers. They've allowed the 5th most receptions and receiving touchdowns to the wide receiver position. Franklin did have a dud last week. Period.
For 21,
was really bad.
Yeah,
not
he got demoted
good.
a bit there too. Yeah,
it looked like he was not because he wasn't on the field at the end of the game. It looked like there were other people running in his place. Pat Bryant, one of them.
That was the first time Bryant outsnapped him this season.
Yeah,
and remember they're coming off the bye, so it's an indicator that maybe
that might be a thing. So I'm glad you said that because coming into the bye, this was Troy Franklin: 10 targets, 8 targets, 10 targets, 9 targets, 8 targets. That's great volume for a guy that we didn't expect to see that. And we've seen him have those boom weeks, which is the reason why he's on this list. You know what a big game for him can look like. However, Pat Bryant, expanding role last 2 weeks, 6 targets in week 11 against the Chiefs, 7 targets in week 13 against the Commanders. It just feels like this is an exploitable matchup. You're kind of playing like a little bit of, like I say with the Packers, wide receiver roulette with the Broncos. Someone probably is going to have a good game here. The question is which one of these wide receivers. But Franklin and Bryant are 2 guys that have – Franklin, we've seen it before. Bryant is starting to come along. So the 2 guys I have. Bryant outside my top 50. Troy Franklin I have as wide receiver 42 this week.
I'm going to ask you this first, Daniel, because Mike may know the answer from the playbook already, which I know is not out yet, but will be soon.
Tomorrow,
Highest over-under on the board this week is – which game?
Over-under.
Yep. The number is 53.5.
Ooh.
Is it
it's a big number.
Is it Lions?
Would it be Lions Cowboys?
Lions Cowboys it is. I say that because
I actually didn't know. That's why I guessed, by the way.
Lions Cowboys.
That's got to be the highest Thursday over-under of the season, I would think. And that has to be helped by the fact that they both played Thursday, so we just think the game will be a better game.
They're on normal rest as opposed to the short week that is what's in play for every other Thursday.
I did not know that.
But yes, 53.5, at least as of yesterday when I was doing my notes for this show, may have been adjusted a little bit, but the second closest was 52.5. I say that because we expect a lot of points. There's also a question about Khalif Raymond and his availability for the game on Thursday. We know Jameson, Amon-Ra, St. Brown. Yeah, I think Raymond is going to be out. Amon-Ra, we'll see, but sounds unlikely Amon-Ra plays, which means Jameson Williams 1. Who's the number 2 receiver for the Lions on Thursday night?
Isaac Tesla, baby.
Maybe Tom Kennedy, but probably Tesla.
Yeah. And Kennedy will play some slot role, but Tesla, their 3rd-round pick out of Arkansas, he's a highlight reel waiting to happen.
Yes,
he is a height, weight, speed prospect who just really has a chance to become an excellent player in the NFL.
I've watched Isaac Tesla have at least 3 catches better than Traylon Burks' catch this last week.
Great point.
So,
you want to break the tie?
Do you think that we had a thing about the Traylon Burks catch this week because I thought it was the best catch I've ever seen.
Oh, really?
I thought it was better than OBJ because he had Riley Moss draped over top of him while he was making the catch.
Yeah, well, I mean, OBJ got
there
was interference.
It was 3 fingers. He only had 3 fingers. No, the defender was clearly he had fallen behind him. It was not quite the same.
I don't know. It was interference. I don't know. I would go OBJ.
Would you?
I agree with what Chris Collinsworth kind of said, which was kind of funny because you were so used to like us and commentators just reacting like that was the best catch ever right when it happens, but he was very much like, That was fine. I mean, like not that, not. Right. But he
more
put water
optimistic.
On it. He played the role I usually play. It's like it was great, but not. OBJ.
I think it's a bigger deal because it's Traylon Burks. But anyways,
all
doesn't
right,
matter.
So
we'll
let's
keep
move
on
forward
moving
here. Isaac Tesla is on my radar this week. If he becomes the number 2 wide receiver, what could be a high-scoring game? Could he go for 5 and 72 and a touchdown?
Yes,
possible. So, and by the way, a fun name to know. And if Amon-Ra is going to miss multiple weeks, and Khalif Raymond is going to miss multiple weeks. You could have him, and I definitely feel the same way, but just in case.
I got to tell you, just in case people aren't as locked in to the Detroit Lions, when Isaac Tesla did his interview with the team in the pre-draft process, he showed up wearing a Lions jersey with his name on the back of it.
Yeah, love that.
Which is the thing where it's like he's a Michigan kid. He's been a Lions fan his whole life. He had a Lions jersey with his name, so he was like, "I'm going to wear this to my interview with Brad Holmes." If that doesn't make you want to root for a guy that got to play for the team that he's grown up watching, like I don't. He's just a very fun to watch.
A surprise pick too. Round 3, he was not expected to go there, so very interesting. Guys, last one for me is what I talked about earlier, what I foreshadowed, the Vikings offense and what we do with this team, because in theory, the schedule is very appealing. Looking forward, the next 4 weeks, easiest for quarterbacks and receivers, 9th easiest for running backs, 14th easiest for tight ends. So you look at the body of work of these guys, and look, J.J. McCarthy, 2 disasters in a row was against the Bears and the Packers, 2 division rivals. But he had 14.7 against the Ravens with that good rushing production. He had 18.9 plus points in 2 of his first 3 games of the season. That included the Bears as well, in addition to the Lions. Also, his average depth to throw is highest in the NFL, almost 10 yards. So talking about upside options, he's at least going to push it downfield. We know that. Aaron Jones, poor against the Packers last week, but 69 plus yards and 11 plus fantasy points in the prior 3 games. He got hurt last week, so I'm excluding that.
Yep.
We'll assume he plays for now. Jordan Addison had 10 targets last week, averaging 7 per game this season. So I know the production's been bad for a month now, but he did have some big games earlier in the season. And TJ Hawkinson has a 20% target share over his last 3 games. That's up from 15% during weeks 1 through 9. Also had a season high 59 yards last week. So some signs there of volume or production, some signs of it earlier this season. And I know it's been terrible the last few weeks, but I just pointed out that the opposition is going to be a lot lighter. So do we think it's possible that, let's just focus on the production of the passing game, that McCarthy could throw for 205 yards and 1 or 2 touchdowns, add a little value with his legs? Like, I know it's hard to imagine because of recency, but do we feel like they can do that and be just good enough to keep these guys afloat in fantasy?
It would be amazing for content if Deshaun did that, because I'm playing Mike in our Focus League. It would be amazing. Did I say Deshaun Watson?
You did.
You said
did.
Deshaun.
Okay.
What,
because the Browns just announced that they've opened the practice window for Deshaun Watson. If J.J. McCarthy does that, so we can talk about Deshaun if we want to, but there's not really fantasy value there.
Can you guys tell me which Vikings wide receiver has more games of 20-plus fantasy points this year? Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, or Jalen Nailor?
It's Nailor, probably.
Nailor?
They all have 1.
They all have 1, yeah.
Everyone has 1 20-point game, which is unbelievable.
Nailor your pick? Is Nailor your last pick?
No, I wondered if that's what Mike was going to do when he was talking about the Vikings, where it was like Nailor's going to be the guy.
No, I mean, look, I think just Jefferson remains the only lineup lock. Jones is borderline in this matchup this week. I'm not going to start the other guys, but at least there's some reason for optimism here. It's not like they have a brutal final month and we're just cutting all these guys. Yeah. But it's tough right now.
My last one is a straight-up dart throw, but it's a dart throw that we've seen be darted before. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. You're supposed to say bullseye. Sure. We've seen this happen. Hasn't happened yet since the trade this year. We have not really seen it come to fruition. However,
I like this one already.
It is a great matchup. Since week 8, last 6 weeks, the Atlanta Falcons have allowed the most fantasy points to wide receivers taken on the Seahawks this week. And Rashid Shaheed has yet to hit, playing roughly 45 to 55% of the snaps. But I was wondering how much volume he really needs. This is the thing, because he hasn't really hit, but the matchup is so good. 9 of his top 12 career games, he had 4 or fewer catches. He doesn't need a lot. It's really just 1 play and a touchdown to be able to give you what you need from Rashid Shaheed. He is a deep play, touchdown-dependent guy in a great matchup, and no one else there. I know JSN will play on the outside and do this, but Cooper Kupp is not taking that role away in any way, shape, or
Not
form.
that role. He's playing. He's still running ahead of him though.
He is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we've seen Rashid Shaheed be really good before. And like I said, it is a one catch for a touchdown kind of play. That's all that you need from this guy. So I like him. He's my wide receiver 55 this week. But
all right.
I'd like to see that come to fruition sooner or later with Sam.
He just needs one play, but also he's like fourth in line in the lowest volume offense in the NFL. It's a tough one to justify in a lineup in most formats, I think.
Mike, nobody asked what you thought about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he did.
So
we implied it.
Yeah.
We have a board bet to pay off from last week because we had a short week last week. We did not get the chance to pay it off before
was it?
Thanksgiving. It was Mike and Daniel betting on Josh Allen against the
let's skip
Texans.
this. We don't need to do this.
Daniel had him as a top 8 quarterback play, and Mike had him as a not top 8 quarterback play.
Where did he finish?
Quarterback 21 in week 12.
Right.
As he had 8.12 fantasy
About that
points
Texans
in that
defense.
Thursday night football game against the.
I'll take it.
I'd like to check the tape. I'm pretty sure I said he would have more than 8 fantasy points.
That's what it was. Okay,
Yes.
well then you win.
But you barely.
Yeah, that wasn't great. I got to be honest.
Mahomes does this week.
This was a great call out and a great call by you to make sure that everybody knew about it. Like, in case you were, Josh Allen is one of the most set it and forget it quarterbacks in fantasy football, period. Like, there's no way that you can have this conversation and be like, can I think about sitting him? You talked to us about all the reasons why last week, Mike.
That one. Yeah,
that was a great call.
That was a check it out or check this out.
It was a check this out. I'm a check out this.
You're check
yeah.
That's right.
You're check this out.
Remember, Josh Allen was playing on the road where he has struggled this season. Patrick Mahomes playing at home. The Chiefs have been much better at home this season.
Yep.
Also, but I would just throw one more variable into this, and we can talk about Mahomes over the next couple of days. The Chiefs could very well be without both of their starting offensive tackles. And maybe their best offensive lineman, period, in Trey Smith. That seems not ideal against this Houston Texans defensive
Not at all.
front.
But they, at the very minimum, at least it's must win. They have to throw out all the stops, whether he needs to run the ball or lower his shoulder at the goal line or whatever it is. They have to win basically every game.
All right,
guys. Well, I got to spin the wheel.
That wheel's over there.
Starts
I
of
like
the
it
week.
when it's on
I don't
this
feel
side.
like we had a huge week last week in starts of the week, did we?
Let's take a look at it real quick.
For yourself?
So, okay, well, we'll see. I think we got a full
Here we go.
screen
There we
here
go.
of
The
our
numbers.
starts of the week. All right, Field, give us who you had.
Oh my God.
You've got to be freaking kidding me.
Okay, so.
Oh, it's brutal.
No way.
No way.
All right,
Okay.
for those listening at home, Field, set it up.
All right, so last week, my starts of the week, Bo Nix, Tyrone. Can I have the full screen one more time if possible? Tyrone Tracy, Jacoby Myers, and my tight end, I forget who it was. Oh, Isaiah Likely. I scored 54.54 points. Not a huge number, but I won the week.
You might have gotten more from Likely if you were inches away
Yes,
from
I
another
mean, huge
touchdown.
lead. Jacoby Brissett from Mike with Derrick Henry, his wild card. Keenan Allen and Dallas Goedert, good for 48.74 points. And this is the amazing one. Daniel had Matthew Stafford, Kenneth Gainwell, Jamison Williams, Rondé Gadsden. Those guys, 48.72 points combined. Mike wins by 0.02 over Daniel.
Never in doubt.
That is brutal.
Oh my God. I just assumed Daniel won because of the JMO pick.
I thought so too, because JMO went off. There's no way the rest of my lineup. Rondé Gadsden has just fallen off, unfortunately, at this point.
I think I have that on my list for Friday. So.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'll save it, but it's not great. All right, thank you, Rondé. Let's see what I got to do this week.
My wild card picks have been so bad.
Yeah, well, this is one of those things, Field. We're not good at everything in life. But I am good at spinning wheels, and I got ASMR.
You wanted that one, right?
You kind of wanted that, yeah.
No, you have to go again. You can't do that.
This is going to be so much fun. I'm going to bring in so many fun things to be able to ASMR my lineup with.
All we want, we just want one
I don't
thing.
like that he's excited. I don't like that you're happy about
I like
punishment.
it. Yeah, if I'm happy for the punishment, I would do the ice bath, but we're going to save it. Maybe Mike play
putting
again.
Mike will
show if
get
I
it
get
one
that
day.
one.
Are you that? Or I did a polar plunge over Thanksgiving.
I did. I saw that. I don't know how
I
you
think
do that.
we each need
I
to
thought
have.
it felt amazing after the fact. I kind of want an ice bath for my house. I went online. I thought I thought it was like a $10,000 investment.
Oh, it's
You
not
can
that
buy
bad.
him for like a few $100.
Yeah, that's not that
really?
bad.
Wow,
Yeah.
no way.
I was surprised.
Yeah,
by
you
that.
could just fill your tub with ice too. Or cold
You know
water.
what? Big
Cold
brain
water,
move
right in
right
the-
there.
right in the
Big
tub.
brain move right there by Mike Clay. All right, let's dive into some questions from our YouTube chat. Again, shout out to our buddy Eric Moody, who's hanging out every single week, every single show with us.
Also,
First question.
again, also available on the Doors Reddit.
That's right, he is, yes.
Oh my God.
Jeff C wants to know which of these three would you run the tush push with? Field, Dopp, or Mike
pushing?
Clay?
Who's pushing?
I'm assuming we're the quarterback,
I'd
right?
assume I'm the quarterback. Yeah.
Not me. I would just break it in half.
Oh, got it.
Who's got the best lower body?
Not me.
I don't think I'm not real strong in my trunks.
Like we're not exactly the right demo to be
this isn't
tush
bad.
pushing. Yeah.
Answer would be Eric Moody. As a former
Moody.
offensive lineman,
Yeah, there you go.
absolutely. Moody could get you that yard if you need it. I have no doubt whatsoever. All right. Jeremy Klooster wants to know, pick two from these. Would you start Justin Jefferson, Jamison Williams, Javonte Williams, or Jacoby Myers? Two of those four.
Okay.
That's a good one.
I think we have a cross Jefferson off answer here.
I think so.
I'm going with J-Mo and Javonte.
Both Williams.
Agreed.
J. Williams is your answer.
There you go. Yeah.
The J. Will brothers. Yeah, in on that. I think we found one. I feel good with that situation right now. Obviously, if Amon-Ra plays, I wouldn't feel as good about Jamison Williams.
If Amon-Ra plays.
But yeah, I like that. All right, let's do another question here. This one comes from Mike Chavez. Wants to know, is it okay to say I have more faith in Harvey than Henderson at this point?
I mean, Henderson, as we talked about yesterday, 49% of the offensive snaps for the Patriots. It's going to be 60 to 65 for Harvey going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that there was a little bit of I think the Patriots are making an effort to preserve Henderson, and that's going to limit his fantasy output. Just
almost feels like the Patriots feel like they're going to be playing football deep into January with the way they're playing
this
right
happens
now.
Sometimes. We see this way. I know they're not playing in the postseason, but Bijan Robinson, I feel like, is the best example of this. The past couple of years, certainly when they have Thursday games, you'll just randomly see an Allgeier game. Or Tyler Algier game.
Allgeier.
Allgeier is Justin Allgeier is a NASCAR driver. It happens once in a while. Justin Algier, sorry.
It happens once in a while. Clearly,
they're spelled almost identical, and I've done it
for Daniel Dopp and Mick A. Cly.
That was an honest mistake.
Allgeier is
I can't talk today. I don't know.
It's great. That's going to do it for our show today.
Breakfast.
Presented by Wingstop, by the way. We love our friends over there. Make sure you come back and hang out with us tomorrow on Thursday. We will be back with even more fun fantasy content. Don't forget to love each other and be kind to yourself. You guys deserve it. Even someone like Mike Clay. We'll see you guys back here on Thursday.
You just said be kind, and then you were mean.
Well, you said a bunch of weird stuff on the show today that we didn't understand.
Doesn't count.
Someone else.